Hello, FlossTube. We're the Real Housewives of Cross-stitch.
I'm Priscilla.
And I'm Chelsea.
And Ronnie's at home, and sorry, it's just funny. We're at the Fat Quarter Shop.
And so I have Cash, and I'm Kimberly, and today Priscilla and Chelsea are going to show you how to stitch in hand and how to do the sewing method. And at the end, I'm going to give you my little pathetic tip of mine. But we're going to learn so much, and I'm so honored to have them. So let's get stitching.
So today I am stitching on my 28 count even weave Monaco. It's tea coffee dyed. You guys can see that on a video on our channel that we've previously done at the Real Housewives of Cross-stitch. I am stitching on a Country Cottage Needleworks, the second in the series of Santa's Village. It's poinsettia place. So these are all going to be on one large piece of fabric, and I'm stitching on the second one. So I'm going to show you stitching in hand. I'm using this is just DMC, 2 strands over 2 threads. So right now I'm using a ballpoint needle, and to stitch in hand, you go over 2, and you're using the sewing method. So I'm using my left hand, my middle finger, to push up where I'm going to find the actual needle. And you're going through 2 holes at once. And then back down and through. So now I'm in that lower left corner. I'm going to go to the top right, thread my needle through the top left, and pull. And again to the bottom right of that same thing. And when you're using, so this right here is DMC, but when you're using fancy floss, you want to make sure to do 1 X at a time, and that's going to give you the best option for your variegation in those overdyed threads. So sometimes when you see people stitching in hand, they'll make one like slant of the X all the way through, and then they'll come back and cross their X's. But with us using fancy floss, the majority of the time, this is what's easiest for us. So then I'm going to go up. So I've kind of got off track on my stitches. I'm going to kind of just make my way backwards. So that's going to the left, and it's easiest to go to the left. Now to go to the right, because I'm going to go back and fill in these spots that I've missed, I'm going to skip a stitch, because if I were to start right next to it, I'd pull my thread out. So I need to skip a stitch, go to the bottom left of that, then go to the top right through the top left and pull. And now I can go back just like I were going to the left. Now again, I'm going to skip over that one. And now I can show you going down. So I'll just go to the bottom right hand corner, but I can also go again to the bottom left hand corner of my bottom stitch. You know, this method works really easy for us because it keeps our accessory costs a little bit lower. We're able to invest more in the fancy floss and the fabric, more charts, because we're not using a Q-snap. And that's kind of why we like the Monaco, because it's a thicker, heavier fabric. It's more sturdy in our hands when we're holding it. And you know, I do have a big piece, and when I get over here, I'm able to just wad it up in my hands and I can stitch over here. So that's not a problem for me at all. I'm going to fill in these, and then I can also show you going, you know, kind of down steps with it. If, like on roofs of houses, you're often having to do down steps, and I would just, again, put my needle to where I want to go. And a lot of people, when they're first starting out on, and this is kind of how I learned too, on the 28 count, so you're going every 2 holes is where you're going to put your needle. So some people, they go 1 and 2, and that's how they count out their stitches. And again, it's easiest to go to the left because that's where you're going to not have to skip any stitches. Bob. Now again, if you wanted to go up, you can still go in that direction. And the part with this is I'm not going under my fabric at all. My hand isn't going on my fabric. My needle is staying at the top of my fabric, which makes it a lot easier for me. So now I would go down to the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to go back up to the top left hand corner where I just was, and that's going to get me started for the next stitch. So again, I skipped it, so let me take that out. You're going to back to where the top left hand corner of that stitch, and build your X. Now back through it. And my habit is once I finish a stitch to kind of pet it with my needle, and that helps it lay flat. Some people do railroading where they're going to actually go through they would spread these two threads out and go through it, and they say that that leaves a fuller X with a straighter thread. I'm kind of a slap it together girl, so you just do it how you want to. But that's how I stitch in hand.
I am stitching Lori Holt's Quilter's Cottage, and I'm going to show you how I stitch in hand. So I am stitching this on 28 count T coffee dyed light gray Monaco, and I'm using Aura Floss 2 strands. For me, it's easiest to go up and down if I have floss that's not variegated, and it doesn't matter that if your variegation has to go a certain way. The Aura Floss is just a solid color, so it just is fine to go up and down no matter what. And I'm stitching in the tree, and I had already outlined it so I knew where to stitch, so I wouldn't have to look at my chart. But I wad it up in my left hand and then just stitch away. And then this time I'm going to be going up instead of down. And also, if I go side to side, I will turn my fabric the other way so that I can go side to side without having to worry about skipping stitches so that my threads will stay in. But we don't use hoops or Q-snaps. We just stitch in hand, and we use the Monaco because it's a little bit stiffer. And we tea, coffee dye it, or dye it, whatever project we're doing. It's hard to do this on camera. The sewing method is done mostly on the top of your fabric, and then sometimes when you have to turn or whatever, you might need to go underneath to get your needle, but most of it is done on the top. And I use my left hand, my middle finger, to help guide where the needle needs to go and kind of push up on the fabric in that spot, and that's how your needle knows where to go to the next stitch. And I don't use a petite needle. I use a regular needle for stitching in hand. I don't think I've ever used a petite needle. But you can do this, it's a little bit quicker than having to just I forget what they call it, poke, hunt, stick and stab. And it makes your projects very portable too if you don't have to have all the frames, Q-snaps, things like that. And it's just kind of the way that I've always stitched. So I tried to, when I taught her, I tried to give her a hoop and she didn't like it either. She went straight to this. So we've both always done this. That time I put my hand under to get the needle, and then I'll start up another row, and I start from the other side that time, but the stitches are still the same. And when using the Orifloss like this, you could do the whole row and then come back down and do the other direction of the X. But I like to complete one stitch at a time because I do use a lot of fancy floss, so that's what I'm used to. Oh my goodness. So I've gotten, I think, 2 rows done while we were talking, so it's pretty quick. 3 rows maybe. But there's no right or wrong way to stitch, whatever is easiest for you. And if you like to use a hoop or a frame, there's probably ways to get this done. And I think Kimberly's going to show you how she does hers like that with a Q-snap. So
I haven't really learned how to stitch in hand. So stitch in hands means that you just grab your cloth and you're able to stitch. But Priscilla and Chelsea inspired me to learn how to do the sewing method. So I'm just going to do a straight line. I'm going to go left to right. And I'm going to start with the loop method. So I'm going to make half a stitch. I'm using Aida, so I'm just going over one. So to do the sewing method where you stay on top, I just loosen one little section of my Q-snap, and I am using a petite size 26 John James needle, and I use my middle finger also to push, and I can stay on the top by doing this. And I've only been able to accomplish doing the sewing method in straight lines. I haven't tried it in diagonally or anything. I haven't gotten that good at it yet, but I'm a beginner, so this is kind of how I started. And to do it, I found the petite needles are working better for me, but I will tell you I've broken quite a few. And it might be because I'm on Aida, and it might be because I don't have my Q-snap as loose and I don't have it in my hand. So that's how I go across, and then I can do the sewing method going back, and I will do a railroad. So I'll take my needle, split my threads, and go back. And I stitch with DMC, so I can do half stitches and go back. And you're gonna see that this is a totally different style than them, and that's okay. You stitch however you want or however you learn. You know, I just learned a different way. So I'm just splitting that and then going back across. So that's my little, that's the way that I've been doing it, and I'm sure that once I get used to it, I'm going to be able to do things diagonally and get better at it. I just haven't yet. So that's what I have for you. So we hope you learned a lot from this video. We would love to see what your favorite part was, like what you learned from us. So comment below. Make sure to follow me on Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube and also on Facebook and Instagram as FQS Cross-stitch or FQS X-stitch. And
follow us on Instagram at Priscilla Blaine, at Chelsea356, Priscilla's2000 on Facebook, and Priscilla's2000.blogspot.com, where we show all of the things that we do. And also join us with our Stitching with the Housewives group on Facebook and Kimberly's Stitch Squad.
And follow their YouTube channel, Stitching with the Housewives. And we will see you on a next video.